back here at the Santa Rita Invitational at Silver Bell Golf Course in Tucson. And my guest right now is Mr. Robert Moreno. He's the golf coach of Marana High School. And his team has already teed off, and they're out there trying to slug it around and shoot good scores.
Absolutely. So far, so good.
Good. Well, I'm glad you could take the time to be with me for a minute or two. Tell me about, basically how your team stacks up. I mean, do you have a lot of players that have their swing coaches, or are they all pretty much self-taught, or maybe it's taught by parents and yourself? How does it break down?
Basically, my team is the makeup is a lot of freshmen right now. Unfortunately, when I took the position, we didn't have a lot of kids that were actually playing. I actually had 6 kids that had never even touched a club before.
Wow.
So I think that's the new generation where they just feel like they can just show up without touching a club and they'll be all right. But it's been great from the standpoint where we haven't had to break any bad habits yet. So from my standpoint, it was a rough initial beginning because I had so many kids and I was spreading myself thin trying to help them all out. But right now we're in a groove, and I think we have 4 freshmen on our top 5, which is a great thing for me for the future. Right now we're in a growing pains from that standpoint. We've been very competitive in all our matches, but we've also had a lot more players in most of the schools, which is obviously a problem for some of them.
Well, it's nice to have some numbers to draw from.
Absolutely.
I've talked to several coaches who are scraping to get 5, let alone 6, 7, or 8, so they have subs.
Well, we have 14 on our team, and I was going to make a cut and get down to some reasonable numbers, but as I said, I had so many kids that were enthusiastic, so we're building to the future. I've got 1 senior and 2 juniors, and all the rest are freshmen.
Now, you've got 14 players, only 5 play in a given match, correct?
For this one, yes. Normally we take 6.
You take 6 and
yes,
5 scores count?
4 count, 5 play and 4 scores count,
right.
But we usually bring that 6th person to fill out the foursome. Okay. And it also gives us an opportunity to bring another child along or kid along to play and get some experience.
Oh, now, what do you do? Or is it possible for somebody who's not amongst the top 5 or 6, is it possible for some of the other players that didn't make that group initially to make that group and dislodge somebody from one of their positions? Is there a challenge process?
Absolutely. From our perspective, what we do is we have matches once a week. What we do is a qualifier. Usually on Thursday, my kids get out a little bit earlier. So we'll go out, we play 9 holes, and usually my top 3 scores from the previous match have an exemption, so to speak, where they don't have to qualify. They still play, but they're in the match just based off of performance. The other 2 spots, or 3 spots, if we go with the 6, are up for whoever shoots the lowest round for that day. The other thing that's unique that I've been able to do is I have a lot of connections in the city, so I've been able to call the courses up and see if I could get another tee time. So what I've been able to do is, instead of just the 6, I've actually been able to bring 10 kids to each match, and then I send them off on the backside, so they get to still dress up in their uniforms. They get on the team bus. They don't get to play in the match, but they get that feel, so to speak, and then they go play their 9 holes. We meet afterwards, watch the team come in, so it's more of a camaraderie thing. And I feel it's, as I said, we're building kids' interest, and that's the whole point of what our program is right now.
I remember many years ago, I find it hard to remember back that far when I was playing high school golf.
You and me both.
But nonetheless, the issue and the way we could conceivably get into to crack the starting 5 would be to challenge one of those to a match during a practice session, and if we beat them, then we could have a position on the team. When I was on the team, I was always being challenged. So.
Well, that meant you were good then, huh?
Well, no, he said I was the weak link in the chain.
Ah, okay.
I was easy pickings.
Absolutely. And I've never heard that, but that's a unique perspective.
And for somebody that was being challenged continually,
You grew tough skin, huh?
You grew tough skin, and it was a case where you just wondered, why am I doing this?
Well, I think
it gets frustrating that way. That's why I like your way.
Well, I think what I've tried to do is try to get some toughness in these kids, and I'm not saying if it's this generation or whatever, but there's definitely, they just don't have that competitive edge that we used to have when we were younger. You fought for everything you had, and you didn't want to lose your spot. And I don't know if it's just my team, but I get the sense a lot of times is, I didn't make the team this time, and no biggie, I'll get the next one. And we've tried to do inter-team matches. Yesterday we had 7-on-7 where I made the teams as even as I could, and made matches against individuals along with the team, and they had to do push-ups, the losing team, and so it's kind of, I'm trying to develop that edge, so to speak, where they learn to compete and they want to beat their competitors, and that's been tough, but it's a growing process.
It's a growing process, and it's certainly, as you indicated, a lot different than it was certainly when I was, and I know you're probably a lot younger than I am, even at that. Even
I just look good for my age.
Well preserved?
Yes, sir.
You found the fountain, did you?
Absolutely.
Nonetheless, it is different. There's no doubt about it. Are you ever involved with, or do you have at your school a girls' team?
We do actually, but unfortunately for them, they've only got 5 girls that have gone out. They have just enough, so there's no competition in the sense of them having to fight for a spot. But at the same token, they have some relaxation in the sense that they know that they have that spot secured, and they're able to just go out and play, and there's no pressure on them.
I know you're the men's golf coach, but what do you see as the potential growth for the women and the girls programs? I mean, they just seem to be basically wide open. There's so many opportunities for young girls to play.
The thing I've always tried to emphasize to the girls programs is it's a great opportunity for scholarships. Mm-hmm. I've been involved in golf for many years. I was actually a PGA professional for years. And you'd be amazed at how many college coaches are coming up to you and saying, hey, if you see any woman that can break 80, give me a call. We're always looking. And I've always tried to emphasize that, especially this day and age with the cost of college and parents struggling to figure out how they're going to pay for it. It's a great opportunity if you can get them young and say, you know what, this may be an avenue for you to pursue. And unlike the men's side, where I don't want to denigrate the women's side, there's so much competition on the men's side. There hasn't quite gotten to that level on the women's side. So if you're a woman that could come out and shoot 79, 80, you can write your ticket to a lot of premier schools. Now, obviously not the top 20s, but there's so many opportunities, D1, D2 schools that are just craving for women that can play.
Well, I know when my daughter was in high school years ago, she was a softball player, and I don't recall that they had a girls' golf team.
No.
But she also played golf. She's to this day a pretty fair golfer. She was an all-star in the league as a softball player, and had an invitation to an NAIA school on a partial ride scholarship for softball. I'd much rather she had played golf, but there was no opportunity for her to be a member of a team.
Well, especially women that are golf or softball players. I used to love and relish getting them because they have that ability to swing hard. Mm-hmm. And you can't teach that, unfortunately. You can try, you need to swing hard, you need to swing harder. But that inert or aggressiveness that women softball players is a great plus in golf.
Right.
And you can sit there and once they learn to swing hard, then you can tone them down and focus on hitting it straight. But it's hard for people that hit it straight to all of a sudden starting to hit it hard.
Swing hard just in case you hit it.
Exactly. So it's a great thing to get those either baseball players or softball players and try and get them into this sport. And in fact, a lot of my kids on my team are baseball players. And it's great because they have the general concepts of weight transfer, rolling their wrist, and swinging hard for the fences. Now it's a matter of teaching them in the concept of golf perspectives.
Right.
So it's good, and that's with golf. changing to the fall as opposed to the spring, now those baseball players are able to come out for golf now.
Well, it sounds as though you've got something cooking over there at Marana, and you're to be congratulated for that. And I wish you all the good luck. What do you anticipate might happen today and tomorrow in this event?
Well, I'd be very surprised if anybody took it really deep, seriously. This golf course is very long, especially from the back tees where they're playing. I'm kind of an advocate of they need to shorten up some of these courses so that they're appealing to the masses instead of the few. There's probably 15 kids that can probably play this golf course well, and we've got over 100 kids here. I would much rather see the courses set up a little more friendly so that the kids could have a little more fun with the event and not feel like they were beat down. That's just my philosophy. So to answer your question, the cream's going to rise to the top. Your traditional powers, I think, are going to do well. But I think the scores are not going to be low at all. This is a very difficult course from the back tees, and it's dry and hard because of the overseeding process that they're about ready to go through. So I'm hoping that one of my guys comes out and at least represents, and I think I've got a couple freshmen that are capable. It's just about them getting out of their own way.
Right, just don't let the nerves.
Don't let the mental game get to you, and that's what we've been working on. Is everybody's going to have a bad hole? Let it go, move on. But when they're this young, it's hard for them to let that thing go.
One is compounded by the next is compounded by the next.
Absolutely.
And you see it on tour, so you know you're going to see it with freshman golfers.
I've tried to use that analogy, saying Tiger Woods has had some bad days, and he's come back with 5 birdies in a row, or he's made some crucial putts, and it's about letting go, moving forward, and not dwelling on the past. And
exactly.
That's what we're trying to do.
All good advice, Coach.
I appreciate that.
You take the time to come and talk to me. Good luck. I hope your squad does well, and I hope you continue the success and the growth of your squad.
Well, thank you very much. This may not be our next year, but as I tell people, beware of the Tiger in 2 years.
Sounds great.
Thanks
again for stopping by.
Appreciate it.